really don't know what I'm doing with my life.
Oh, that's not the song.
I'm just living for fucking nothing. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Or hi if you're new here. My name is Andrea. Nice to meet you. So anyway, today I wanted to talk about my ECV experience. And if you don't know what ECE is, it's external something version. In order to really get into it, I have to explain everything that was going on in my pregnancy. So first of all right, so I go to my doctor's appointments. My midwife, she had like this little group. It was called centering group at our hospital, and basically she would have all of her patients come in voluntarily, of course, to go to like this group session where we would get a book and it would teach us about the stages of pregnancy and postpartum and taking care of a baby and what to expect and stuff like that. One big room with chairs, and then there's another room on the side, and that's where she would check us, your BP and all your vitals, right? I was like feeling like something really hard like up here. Like there's just this one circular thing on my belly, and it's I'm pretty sure that's her head, you know. And at this point I'm 35 weeks pregnant. So I'm like, okay, when is this baby gonna turn? They proceed to check me with their hands. Like they start pressing super hard just to see like trying to figure out what is what. So they go up here, they're like, yep, that's the baby's head. But just to make sure, we're gonna have you go to an ultrasound so we can see what position your baby is in to confirm that she is bottom down and head up and breeched. I'm like, okay, all right. So what if?
What are the chances, you know, of her turning on her own?
And basically, they're basically, oh my god, I say that word too much. Anyway, they're telling me that it's highly unlikely that she is going to turn on her own at this point, because now I am 36 weeks and I had to decide by like my 37th week if I wanted to go into do this type of procedure. We can either plan for a C-section or we can do this procedure, but mind you,
this procedure is like a 50-50 chance that it's even gonna work.
I'm like, what? So they're like, yeah, and I did not want to get a C-section at all whatsoever. I'm super scared of getting surgery and everything. I'm like, no, like I don't want this. I'm not going through surgery. I wanted to have a natural vaginal birth, have like the normalest pregnancy aside from everything else that I was already going through. Okay, well, what is this procedure? And they explained it to me that usually they would offer you an anesthetic, like an epidural, to numb you because it's a painful process. What they do is they just turn the baby from the outside. And I've watched so many videos. I did so much research on this before because I wasn't sure like I really wanted to do it. I was like so stressed out and emotional, and I'm like, oh my god, why is this happening to me? And there was already so many other things going on with this pregnancy. My mindset was get a C-section or try something that it may or may not work, but at least I can say that I tried something. The day comes of scheduling the ECV to hurry up and make a decision for it, because if I didn't, then I would run out of time, and my biggest fear was getting the surgery, and I did not want that at all. So like I said, I went with trying something instead of doing nothing for it. I go into the hospital, and at first I'm like, okay, I guess like I don't want to do this at all, but I guess this is my kind of only option of hope. I'm in the room, they give me a gown and they give me pads, like wet pads, wipes that I had to take out and basically rub my whole body with it, because I'm going into the what is it called, like the operational room. So the doctors come in to speak to me about what the procedure is, and they're going into detail and they're explaining me the risks. The risks were
Terrifying.
I was a good participant for it, that it would work a lot more accurately with me because the placenta was on the back wall and that I was skinny. But the risks were if they were doing the process and a placenta would detach from the wall, then they would have to do an emergency C-section. So my baby would have been born early, and then I would have had to get the C-section anyway. So I said, fuck it, I'll just, you know, if I'm gonna end up getting a C-section, at least I can say I tried something different, right? I'm freaking terrified. And they're also telling me about the anesthetic. And, oh yeah, she does that, it's fine. So anyway, they're telling me about the anesthetic. They're like, oh, so we can either give you the one shot or we can give you the epidural. And the one shot is just like the anesthetic in your back and it's fine. But the epidural is not as strong, but they have control of how much they can administer to you just in case of an emergency C-section. So I did not want to get the epidural at all either. I was like, no, I'm terrified of needles. I'm terrified. I don't even want to do this. So I broke down crying. And I was talking to my boyfriend, of course, like, I can't believe this is happening. I don't want to do this. I'm so stressed out. Like, I'm worried something's gonna go wrong. What if my baby gets hurt in the process just because I wanted to be selfish to have a natural vaginal birth? He calmed me down. He's just like, just relax, and whatever's meant to happen is gonna happen no matter what we do. So just trust them. So this is where it gets even more intense and more terrifying. I go in and they finally convinced me to get the epidural because they're like, look, it's safer if anything goes wrong. There I am, shaking and shivering while they're trying to put on the epidural on my back, and I'm literally like shaking, scared. And I was talking to the nurse, and she was super nice to me. You know, she was holding my hand. She was talking to me, trying to keep me calm because they know that I was freaking out. I was so nervous. And I just kept making jokes, and I was asking her about things. And it was kind of like talking out of my ass just to get distracted because I didn't want to face reality at the time. Just to keep my mind focused on everything else but them putting the needle in my back. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. It was, I'm like, oh, it's fine. It's over. Cool. I didn't feel anything. You know, all I felt was like the warm tingling down my legs, which I actually found relaxing because I was cold and I was nervous and scared. So after they like administered like the liquid, it just went numb from my hips down. Like you can feel, but not as strongly. Turning me on the table at this point, I'm just, you know, laying down, and all of a sudden I feel like, you know, like I'm gonna throw up, or I just feel really nauseous and dizzy. So this is the bed, and this is my head, and these are my feet. They put these little pressure cuffs on my legs just to keep the circulation going. Oh, also, they were gonna administer another drug through my leg so that it relaxes the placenta. It makes the process a little bit easier and safer for everybody. And during that whole time, they're going to be using an ultrasound to see where the baby is and how to turn her and everything. So anyway, I'm like this. My head's over here, my leg's over here. And, you know, I'm like, hey, I need a burp. Can you put me up? So they're like, okay, you know. So they put me up like this. And I'm like, you know, all of a sudden, I started losing my sight. I was very vocal about what I was feeling. So I'm like, oh my God, like I'm losing my vision, and I'm like losing my hearing. And at that moment, I'm freaking out. You know, I'm like, oh God, like I'm gonna pass out. You know, I went like this to the lady. I'm like, I'm gonna pass out. So I was passing out, blacking out everything. So I'm laying back. You know, they put me this way now. So they put me this way so the blood flow of my heart would go up towards like my head, I guess. So they put me like this. But it wasn't really working because the baby was putting pressure on my main like artery there. So they tilted me towards my heart, which your heart to the left. So they put me towards the left side, and that made it worse. So they're like, okay, now put it this way. So they put me this way, and I started feeling better. And they also administered epi. They gave me epi because my heart rate was dropping, and I could see it. Because the thing was right here, so I had looked up for a glance because I'm like, oh shit, I'm gonna pass out, you know. And I look this way, and I'm like, holy shit, like that is low. It went down to like, I don't know, I think it was like 68, but I saw the number go down like so fast from like 90 to all the way down to like 60.
And I was like, oh shit, like fuck, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna pass out, this is it.
And I just, at that moment where I thought I was like, this is it, you know, I just like thought to my head like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. I'm sorry, like maybe you guys think I'm just being dramatic, but no, I literally thought I was gonna die. Super calm and relaxed, and I basically just gave up. Like, if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. There's nothing I can do about it. You know, that's how I felt really. And I'm like, well, the doctors are here, so my baby and my partner's here, so everything will be fine if something does go wrong, you know. It's something I've never experienced in my life, and I totally forgot about it until recalling it right now, where I just was completely calm. And after all that craziness happened, after they administered the epi, I felt my heart like beating a lot faster, and I actually could feel it in my chest. You know, it felt weird. They start the process. So they try to turn her backwards, and that wasn't working, so they did it this way. And they're really putting a shitload of pressure on me, and it took, I think, almost 40 minutes for them to go do this process on me. So they turn her forward because her head's up here, so they were trying to bring her backwards so her head would go down. So that wasn't working, so they did it like forward flip. While they were doing that, I felt them push and push and push and push. Oh man, it was hurting. It was the worst feeling in the world. Like, so much pressure. I couldn't breathe. Like, two people, they were working together to figure it out, and then there was another girl right here who was watching me, and then there was two other people behind me who were doing the anesthetic, or you know, they're doing that. I don't know what that was. Anyway, so this girl was talking to me, and I was just like, you know, she's like, you know, you're so brave. If I ever have kids and have to do something like this, I will remember you just being this very brave mother. Everything's gonna be okay. You're so strong. Don't worry. She has a very calming voice. So I'm like, okay, this is kind of working. So whatever you're doing, keep doing it. So anyway, they flip her, and I felt it go so, like, the baby, she's just like,
Fine, whatever. You guys want to make me turn? I guess I have no choice.
so this sassy brat, I'm just kidding, this little baby princess finally gave up and stopped being so stubborn, and she gave in, and she turned all the way. She went whoop, boom, just like that, done. And I felt relief. I was so happy. Oh my god, I didn't even know. I started crying. I was like, oh, thank God. Like, I just started crying, and I'm just so glad this is over. Now I can have a nice vaginal birth, and everything's gonna be okay. The recovery process, it was intense. After the anesthetic and everything wore off, I felt everything after that. I had to wear a binder. I still have it in my drawer. I had to wear a binder to make sure that she felt like she was stuck there, so she wouldn't flip back to whatever position she was comfortable in. I was like, I'm wearing this every day. I don't care. This baby is gonna come out. Head down. Okay, you're coming out. Head down. The next day, I felt every movement that she was making in my stomach. I felt it. It felt like, oh my god, like bruising, like terrible, terrible pain. So sensitive. I couldn't even touch my stomach. I couldn't. And every time she would move, I wanted to die. I really wanted to die. I was crying every time I would feel her kick me, because now her feet are up here, and this is where they were doing most of the motion, was like up here. So when she would kick up here, I felt it so bad, like you don't even know. Anyway, so I would cry, and I was like that for a week and a half, and then I had the baby. That was my external aversion story. And the fact that I did this, the fact that it worked, even though it was a 50-50 chance that it was going to work, I feel pretty lucky, honestly. I do. I feel really lucky. I did not have to get a C-section. Or if you're in the position right now where you have to think about what you're gonna do, I would say try something. Trying something is better than doing nothing and just going straight for the end result, unless that's what you want. You know, so if you really wanted to experience a natural vaginal birth, I would say go for it. You know, that's what you want. And only do it if it's safe for you and your baby. If you have a higher chance and you're a great participant for it, then definitely do it. You've already had kids and you've all already experienced a vaginal birth, and maybe this is just the one C-section you're gonna have to get, or if you have a medical condition and you have no choice, then that's okay too. Either way, that baby's coming out and it's yours. I'm just glad I got to experience that, and I really do feel really, really lucky. A 50-50 chance is like a flip of a coin. Honestly, heads or tails. It was all worth it. I love my baby girl. I love my baby girl. However, because she was breached, she did develop hip dysplasia. If you don't know what hip dysplasia is, it means one of her hips is out of its socket, basically not positioned properly, or both of them slightly weren't positioned properly because they were trying to fit in my pelvis to come out that way. She was sitting like that for so long, and she just kept sinking lower, so her hip's like, hey, let me adjust so we can start fitting through this hole now, so we can come out of mommy butt first. But that wasn't the case. Thank you guys for watching, and that was my story. And by the way, I know that you've noticed my room is a mess. That's okay, we're moving. I'm trying to figure things out and clean this room and throw things away and stuff. So yeah, because I was pregnant for so long, I didn't dye my hair, I didn't cut my hair, only to trim it. And look at it, look at how long it's grown. This is pretty long, and this is the first time I've straightened it in months since she was born. I can't believe it. Look at this luscious hair, girl. Look at this, it's all natural. There's no weave, there's no extensions. It's all from my head. It's all real. So this is the longest I've had my hair in so many years. I like to research and back it up and make you feel more confident in this procedure. I hope this video really helps you figure it out. Maybe gives you a little bit more information about it and what the process was. At least at my hospital, that's what my process was. But it should be pretty much the same everywhere you go. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you again in my next video.